Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Crossing Swords. As always, I'm Andrew.
And I'm impressed by the professionalism.
Do you know what? I've tried to liven things up. I like the idea. Like last week by accident, I just happened to have a song playing on it when we started, and I felt like it put the mood in the right place.
Had some energy.
Yeah, so I was like, fuck it, I'm doing it again. It wasn't quite as seamless this time, but I feel the energy, I feel the karma, I feel the passion.
That's all you can ask for.
And I'm here to do a fucking podcast.
Oh, you're vibing. You're vibing.
I'm vibing.
I'm getting it.
You're picking up what
I'm picking up what
down.
you're putting down.
Yeah, and I'm not just talking about the schlong.
I'm getting the
I'm not talking about the hammer.
whole aura.
Yeah. You know, I had a good dentist visit. Those don't happen very often.
Did you actually have a dentist visit?
Yeah, I genuinely did, not long before the record. And it went better than I expected, so.
You needed to get that sorted for a little while, I think.
Yeah. And then get my tooth sorted as well.
You know, the dentist needs to sort you.
Drilled me hard.
And then sort you.
Yeah. There was a lot of drilling involved.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
And then you went into the surgery.
Yeah.
Did the dentistry.
Yeah.
For sure.
He was a lovely guy as well.
Very unprepared, I imagine.
No, you'd be surprised.
I mean, they see a lot.
He had the gloves on already.
Did he say to take his trousers off?
It was weird. But who am I to question his methods?
No.
I've already told you about the fact I have a barber that rests his genitals on me.
Yeah, no, that's weird. That's still
and it
weird.
happened again. My most recent haircut, I was sat and I had to stop myself laughing because I thought about the fact I told you about it.
Yeah,
and I just thought it was a thing. I'd still need to ask Ash and Alex, or like even his lot. Like they're all like, even Dave, larger men that
they get a haircut.
Yeah, that are more likely to have run into this issue.
Barbers with massive dicks.
No, it's not. I don't think
massive
it's
balls. It's the balls.
I don't think it's a him issue. I think it's me being broad.
Are you victim blaming on yourself right now?
I mean, like, look, we've established before that that's my way.
Are you like telling the police, "Oh no, I was asking for it"?
I was begging him.
Yeah, it's how I was dressed, officer. Really, if anything, it was my fault.
I was a rape apologist for myself.
You've got to be stronger on that.
Yeah, but I'm working on it.
And he's working on you.
Yeah, but I enjoyed myself. It was a good visit. So
sounds like he did too.
I'm smiling.
You'd know if he enjoyed himself, though.
He definitely enjoyed himself.
Can you feel it like
the drill
twitching?
Just kept going off? Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
good. You've had a good day.
I've had a good day. How are you doing? I feel like I've come with the energy. I've not really given you a chance.
No, you come with the energy. I haven't got the energy. I'm very I've got some energy. I've picked up a little bit of secondary energy.
Yeah, I like it. Bringing you up to my level.
I could never be on yours.
That's what I've tried to do this entire time.
I could never be on. You've been going for like 5 years. You've never got close.
Are we calling them the academy? As the podcast academy would disagree. They're
the panel.
Yeah, the panel.
Yeah. I see the panel.
They would disagree with that quite strongly.
Well, they take a lot into account.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect system.
Well, the thing is, I think I'm a bit like a JJ Okocha, right? But just let me land here, right? I have the ability to come out with just absolute stunners, and I've got skill in abundance, but the consistency perhaps isn't quite there. Whereas you're the
Park Ji-sung,
the
engine of the team,
absolutely, and like you're guaranteed 7 out of 10 every week. Do you know what I mean? You may not necessarily get up to a 10 out of 10, but consistently you're going to be 6, 7, 8. Do you know what I mean?
No,
whereas I have the capacity.
You could be a 10.
I could be an 11.
Or you could be a 4.
But 100%. Yeah. There's some weeks where I'm just not here.
There's some weeks where people are like, did he even turn
up?
And
I think the panel picked up on that. And I think it was their way of subtly, just telling me to sort my shit out. To go from JJ Okocha to a prime Ronaldinho.
I just got the decisions from the panel. I didn't speak to the panel.
Absolutely. I know it's a separate. I imagine Will Smith is a part of it since being put out of the academy.
I don't know.
They're anonymous. It's like the Illuminati.
They are kind of like the Illuminati, but more important because they vote on our end of season Christmas do.
Yeah, and that you can't argue with the results.
You can't, because no one knows who the panel is, so you can't find them and argue them.
No, I actually think maybe that's what we need to do in Premier League football. Is the refs need to be in disguise? Maybe dress them up like the Masked Singer. Do you know what I mean? Like this week, it's
have a hamburger chasing them up and down the pitch.
But have them in disguise so we don't know who they are, and then that will stop the abuse.
Well,
you can't. Have
it could backfire.
You can't have footballers screaming at an ice cream cone or a bunny Do you know what I mean?
I mean,
the optics aren't good.
Well, you would have thought that about screaming at a human being. But then are refs human beings? You know, that's another question. That's another...
Therein lies the problem, Jake. Look at what you've just done.
We're asking the big question.
As soon as they became...
I'm dehumanising them.
As soon as they had faces, you dehumanised them. Whereas me dehumanising them was the most humane thing to do.
It's a philosophy.
It's how I live my life.
You dehumanise everyone around you.
I just came up with the idea and it's now my philosophy.
You picture everyone as an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
And it allows you to treat them with a certain level of dignity.
Yeah, or a cute animal, you know.
Does the type of animal affect your judgment?
Well, if it's a kangaroo, as we know, I'm more likely to...
You are up for a scrap.
Yeah, so I can't picture people as kangaroos, but like guinea pigs, you can't hurt a guinea pig. That's just mean. A cat, I like cats. Dogs, I like dogs. Do you know what I mean? But it can get dicey if you're thinking of women as certain animals. Do you know what I mean? It's just not an area I think we should go to.
Which animals?
Cats, dogs. They really don't like it if you compare them to farmyard animals. Do you know what I mean?
When I told you, when I said that to her, all I meant was you're a good worker. That's all I meant.
Yeah. Wasn't referencing your appearance whatsoever.
No, it just meant she's got a good, she'd be good pulling a plough. That's all I meant.
You misspoke though, because you were just saying she'd be good to plough.
Yeah, well, look, there's some semantics that got lost in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
But you knew what I meant.
Who's your current biggest crush, like celebrity crush?
I don't know that I have. What do you? Who's yours?
Like we're talking female or male?
Well, who's yours? Do you have one?
Well, I was watching a podcast the other day and I didn't know who Sydney Sweeney was.
She came into my head because, do you know what? I watched a couple of interviews with her.
Yeah.
She comes across like really chill.
Yeah, and like, look.
Really likeable. And she's attractive. Look,
she's a very beautiful woman.
She's an
Let's
attractive
do it
woman.
Respectfully.
She's a fitty.
Leonardo DiCaprio meme. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not fucking leaving. That's potentially harmful. But the other one where he's like biting his hand. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I know the one.
So yeah, we're on board. I have no idea what we're necessarily going to talk about today. I've got a few things I'd like to talk about.
Yeah, I've got a few things.
One of them is quite serious. I don't know whether we should start with that, considering what we've been talking about.
Hang on, do you want to do the?
Oh, now you got to make me find it. Why are you doing that to me? I've got something else teed up for you.
Yeah, no, and you should go back to that.
Well, now I have to play the one you wanted.
It's just a nice play. No. We can do that. We can come to that.
Okay.
We just if we're going to change pace like that.
Yeah.
And go to something serious.
Wayne Couszins,
the Met police officer, former Met police officer.
I don't necessarily
who raped and killed Sarah Everard.
Yeah. I don't necessarily want to talk about the specifics of his case. More the systemic issues that have been discovered through this case with the recent inquiry and things like that. Like, it shows a systemic issue within the police force. Like, there was apparently 8 different opportunities through his behaviour and things that were brought to their attention that at any stage he could have been stopped, removed from the police force, and there's a good chance he wouldn't have gone on to kill Sarah Everard.
At the very least, he wouldn't have had his warrant card.
No. And he
which he I think used in the attack.
And he was repeatedly protected. And it was like he was known as Rapey Wayne.
Yeah.
Like that was his nickname in the station,
the police station. The police is one of those institutions that very much, just for the sheer size of it almost, that particularly with the Met, as many good officers as there are, and there are a number of good officers, it is a system that first and foremost wants to close off accountability because it doesn't want to find itself in any situations.
Well, but also it protects.
They protect their own, but they protect their own. Yeah.
We don't want to deal with the optics of this, so it's easier to cover it up and hope it goes away and that it doesn't happen again. But it just happens, and we're learning that Sarah Everard is one of countless, most likely. But my previously, I've been quite supportive of the police. Like, my attitude was that it was bad apples, but I genuinely think the whole system's wrong.
I think it's I thought for quite a while that it's the complete opposite. I think it's systemically an institution that is not set up to serve the purpose that it should serve. No. And I think there are a handful of good apples throughout there that are trying their best, but they're working in a system that is not designed for it.
Do you think there's a chance that there's people that are good apples in the police force that aren't at the very least aware of what goes on around them?
What do you mean? Do you mean...
So like those good apples, do you think there's a chance that none of them have any idea what's going on around them? Or do you think they know and they're just trying to do the job as best they can?
I think there's probably a couple that are naive enough to not know, but I think for the most part, yeah, they probably know. They might not know how deep it runs.
Because do you not think, because like we've talked about this before with like the Savile situation, that the sheer number of people that knew and chose not to do anything and not to say anything, that I consider them as culpable to a degree. Do you know what I mean? So I'm then applying that to this where I'm like, are those police officers not as equally
I saw an
dodgy?
interview with a female police officer a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It might have been around the time this whole thing came out. And she said that there were she had a number of issues, like almost from the off.
Yeah.
So she said the level of like sexism that she faced from like day one was just ridiculous. But she said she didn't want to say anything. She didn't want to rock the boat. She just wanted to kind of get on and do her job. She said then a couple of the guys in her like team, or I can't remember, however she described it, I can't remember, but took it to that next level and were a bit too it's no longer banter.
Yeah.
It was never welcome banter, but it's no longer banter. And she raised it, and immediately the whole atmosphere of the team changed, and she was just like the bitch, the snitch.
Yeah, and she ends up getting ostracised to the point where she probably left, I'm assuming.
And it was horrendous. She said, like, she said her immediate boss did nothing about it. I don't know the levels of the police ranking, and I can't remember what the fuck she said.
No, I don't know the rankings.
But she was like, the one above me did nothing. She said, and when I was completely ostracised, I took it further. They did nothing.
Yeah. She
said, I took it at one point. One of them said something to the effect of, and I'm going to get this not quite right, but something to the effect of, I think you're making a big deal out of nothing. I don't think there's that much going on.
The sort of standard cliche response.
And particularly when it transpired what had gone on before it was like, well, that's not enough for you to be, causing all this drama kind of thing.
Yeah.
Horrendous story. Yeah. But then she said that she really, really thought about quitting.
Yeah.
She really was like, well, this is shit. But she genuinely thought, I've got more chance of doing good. If I leave, the next woman who comes in is going to face exactly the same challenges.
Yeah.
And so is the one after. So she said, at least just by being there, she's like, if another woman does join the team, she's not
someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can at least try and be a good police officer.
Yeah.
And just do the job.
See, I'm less talking about those sort of people because I think what she's doing is probably arguably the right thing to do. I'm more talking about, like, say anyone who's aware of someone, like a figurative Wayne Couszins. Like, if there's someone in the police, in your, like, station that's known as Rapey Wayne, that should concern you, and that if raising that up the flag isn't doing anything, not being a part of it.
How much of it does come down to, though, and I'm just playing devil's advocate more than anything here.
That's what I'm trying to do as well.
How much of it comes down to, we all want to see, we struggle, I think, as people to believe that other people are capable of the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
So in terms of committing a rape or murder,
yeah,
I think we kind of, as a whole, I think sometimes we struggle to believe that other people. So though we know someone's behaviour is questionable, and we know this Rapey Wayne in our unit says some really dodgy things and maybe acts in a bit of a pervy way,
I think that's
we all think that he's capable of that?
I would then argue that, in particular in his case, if you have other extreme cases like that, it's likely going to be more than just he's known as Rapey Wayne. You're going to know, like, this has been talked about, this has been covered up, other, like, higher ups.
Would you know?
It would be talked about, wouldn't it? Because we know nowadays that they're open secrets, aren't they? They're not necessarily hidden in behind, like with Savile, with the accusations against Russell Brand, it was called an open secret. Do you know what I mean? And we know from the Savile one that just everyone knew it, just for some reason never came out until he died. But it feels like whenever these things happen, I don't know what it is, but we don't hold ourselves to a high enough standard to actually do the right thing at the time. Do you know what I mean? And I'm probably being very judgmental. But like I personally, my view towards the police now is the whole thing needs to be, like, everybody who works for them needs to be gone and it needs to be started from scratch. And the whole thing needs reworking. The mechanisms, how people are promoted, how people are protected, the checks and balances, all of it. Everything needs to be on the table.
Yeah, the sexism, the racism.
Yeah.
That's all in, again, not necessarily at an individual level, but it's
whole
quite undeniable. Well, it's quite
needs,
difficult to deny.
It's impossible to deny.
An institutional
and
level.
And the fact the current head of the Met is like, got his head in the ground and he's like, no, there's not systemic issues. It's like, come on, man. You're flogging a dead horse now. Like, we all know what's going on. But yeah, I think the whole thing.
What do you do?
Sack them all. Like, genuinely, that would be my salute. Get rid of every single police officer and start again.
Start again with the same system that's going to cause the same issues.
No, completely rebrand it. Get together, figure out what we think.
But
the best
rebranding
is.
or rebuilding?
Rebuilding from the bottom. Everything's up for grabs. The way it's run, how decisions are made, how the police are organised, the fun, all of it. I think all of it needs every single. I don't think there's an aspect of the police force that works. I wouldn't have thought. And I don't trust anyone within the police force now, I don't think, to be honest.
Do you think, and I'm not just trying to floor it and make it some kind of political attack, but do you think, because part of me thinks that all the cuts that have been made to the police in the last sort of 10, 15 years make it easier to get away with doing rotten shit?
Oh yeah, of course it does. Absolutely. Yeah, because the less people there are in the police force, the less likely you are to have people that are willing to make enough noise about it.
And you've got to hit certain targets, so people are willing to look the other way as long as you are hitting those targets.
Yeah. And I think everyone gets into a position where they're just like, oh, if I just keep my head down and do what I need to do, I'm fine, and I'm not involved in anything. And I think that's how these things happen. I don't think it's like a collusion thing. It's the same with like conspiracy theories. It doesn't need everyone to be talking about it. It's just everyone making the same selfish decisions. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's also, when something like specifically talking about the Metropolitan Police Force, when you step up to take on an officer, you're not just stepping up to take on that officer. You are essentially putting your neck out to take on the entire Metropolitan Police Force. Oh, I know.
The attitude within these things, it's a bit like the army, isn't it? We're a squad. We're a family. We stick together. You don't snitch on one another. Like when you see TV shows, what was the one? Was it Line of Duty? Mm-hmm. And they were the police that investigated the police, and they were seen
anti-corruption
as like
unit
than scum, weren't they?
Because they were picking on their own,
you're ratting out other police. It's like,
but it's like, if you've got
what's your issue there? They're only going after the ones that are dodgy. So as long as you're not dodgy, like you've said it before, like with like men being worried about being accused of dodgy shit, it's like, well, don't say or do dodgy shit and you'll be fine. Do you know what I mean?
I realised that, like, with that, if sometimes someone will be falsely accused and it will do some damage, but for the most part, if you do get falsely accused, it's not going to get much traction unless there's enough.
No, I mean, I would disagree
for the most part.
Because I think it's like, we know the media loves tearing down idols. So if they get the opportunity, whether there's enough there or not, we know they'll be willing to go after it. Do you know what I mean?
But did you actually do or say something?
Well, that's it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So that's fine. But yeah. So yeah, that's. What do you think we should do about the police? I said I think we should scrap it all.
It's tough because being realistic, you can't. Can you go without a police force? From like, would you have to dismantle it bit by bit, unit by unit? Would you start in an area? Are the army any better?
It's temporary, bro.
I think,
and like Labour's from the looks of things, are going to have a large enough majority. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
I do think the police force needs completely redoing, like yourself. I think it needs to be a whole new system.
And the problem with that is, how do you get that many people to buy into a new system? It's almost impossible, especially if it's a system that's that fucked. Do you know what I mean? It's the same with our political system. To ever try and change it is quite pointless, really, because the component parts are so used to what's going on that they don't want it to change. Do you know what I mean? So that's the problem with it. That's why I'm like, you just need to get rid of them all. And like the way to make it fair is to get rid of all of them, not just the bad eggs. You're getting rid of all of them. Do you know what I mean?
Mm. I mean, I guess I'd try and compartmentalise the entire force as much as possible, so that if, to use like an analogy, you know, if one branch does start to rot, it's less likely to spread to the others.
Yeah.
And the others are going to feel less of an obligation to look after that particular unit. But you then need
to be able to trust who you put in charge of that particular unit, don't you? You need mechanisms in place to be able to control it.
No, but what I mean is if something does start looking a certain way, it's only, you know, in a particular unit, in a particular area of the force.
Yeah.
Then it's easier to I'm not saying it's easy, but it's easier to root it out.
Yeah.
And like I said, at the moment, the whole police force want to protect themselves.
Yeah.
But if you just got one area, hopefully there's going to be less of an obligation to protect them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
So like, I wouldn't be like someone in the other unit's getting done. It's like their unit, not ours.
Yeah. The problem with all of this though, to manage like police forces that
it's very difficult.
Locally would probably cost a lot of money, just as my idea of sacking them all and starting again would cost a huge amount of money. So like the reality of the situation is we're not going to see any real change in the police force, I don't think.
No, you see a new head bod come in every once in a while and go, yeah, things aren't great, but
one is. I know the last one was Cressida Dick, but I don't know who the current one is.
The
only reason I remember Cressida Dick's name is because her surname's Dick.
And because of who she was married to.
Who was she married to?
Helen Ball.
Who's Helen Ball?
Dick and Ball. I mean, who Helen Ball is just Cressida Dick's wife.
Right, okay.
But she's called Ball.
Oh, shit.
And Cressida Dick is called Dick.
Oh, okay.
So you have Dick and Ball.
I respect it.
The dream lesbian team.
I was going to say that's sort of ironic considering they're lesbians.
But in terms of public profile,
sort of works.
Perfect.
But you can't really be the head of police force and be called Dick, though, can you?
It seems quite apt. Apparently
I don't feel like you can be the head of anything and be called Dick.
It's not the 50s anymore, is it?
No. But normally those blokes were just called Richard. Do you know what I mean? They didn't actually
Dickie.
have Dick in their name.
Always a Dickie. Dick.
So yeah, we've
I've said the word Dick a lot.
We've solved the police force, I feel.
We've given them something to start with. We've given them a jumping off point.
Is there anything you'd like to talk about?
There's lots that I would like to talk about.
Talk to me.
There's loads. Do you want to start with the one that I want to... So, okay, just a reminder that like a year ago or two at the Oscars, and Ariana DeBose sang that song.
Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
I don't think I've still got that now.
Yeah, the Angela Bassett.
I think I deliberately got rid of it.
Is it because I was overplaying? I did get you to overplay that at the time.
Yeah, as soon as you stopped asking, it was gone, basically.
Just Angela Bassett's probably out still doing that thing.
Yeah.
And it was in my head for like months.
Yeah.
Now there's a new one.
And I don't really get it.
So in the 90s, in Chile.
Right. So are these genuine adverts?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So in the 90s in Chile, it seems to be anyway, like all the evidence suggests that, yes, the research
I just assumed people had done it now. Do you know what I mean?
So, from what like I said, I think from what I can tell, it is genuine. It might be proved false later. By the way, the Donald Trump thing I said last week, that was false, and I'm sorry for spreading. That's fake news. I'm sorry for spreading that about the babies.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fake news, and I'm sorry.
Well, we are fighting the fake news. Why are you doing this to me?
But, a beer company decided to shoot their ads in a way, because like back then in Chile on TV, films weren't sponsored, you know, so now you go to the sponsored ad in the break.
Yeah.
If you're watching on telly. Well, they weren't, so you'd have they edited their ads so that it looked like it could be part of the film.
Okay.
So for example, the first instance is Ben Kenobi
talking to Luke,
reaching into the thing, and I've got your dad's lightsaber. And he reaches into the thing, and then it immediately cuts to the break, and he reaches for one of those bad boys.
How did you come across this?
Twitter.
Okay. I thought you were on a social media break.
Twitter. No, that's over.
Okay.
I'm glad it is because I love this. Just think, right? 30 years ago, some advertising team had no idea that they were creating. It's like, do you know, Back to the Future when Martin McFly's like, I guess you guys aren't ready for that, but your kids are going to love it. That's this.
When he plays Johnny Be Good.
That's the advertising team. And they played this version of Star Wars, and the guys were like, it's okay. So, it's all right.
I've got to be honest with you. It's all right. Like, it hasn't hit me.
No, but imagine watching it in, like, just sitting down to watch Star Wars, and Obi-Wan reaches for a fucking cold one right in the middle of...
I think that would improve the film.
For me, I know how it would change my viewing of the film.
Yeah.
Because I spend the entire film trying to guess when the next
Cerveza
Cristal was going to come in. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So there's one when he's shutting down the tractor beam.
Yeah.
And he reaches in for a brewski.
I reckon you could have one at the moment where Luke blows up the Death Star. Do you know what I mean? As like he's about to like fire the shot, like he pulls out a
cold one. There's one where
as he takes the helmet off. I mean, do you know what I mean?
Empire, when Han goes out to rescue Luke, and he slits open the tauntaun.
Yeah.
And some cervezas drop out. Then there's one in Return of the Jedi where Sidious is talking to Luke, and he's like, "Your friend's walking into a trap, you fool," or what, whatever is the equivalent. And then he sits down and reaches out for a cold brewski.
And it's
it's the Cerveza Cristal.
What was the other one I was just thinking of? It's gone now. Yeah, it's gone.
How much do you think their sales have gone up in the last few days?
Do you think they're still going?
I think so. Maybe.
You should have looked it up, really. Are they still a thing?
Do you want me to?
Why not? See if Cerveza Cristal. I'll play the song again. Guys, this is a sort of cutting edge podcasting you're not going to get anywhere else. And I'm glad all of you liked the Prince Harry episode. By the way, guys, if more of you are, but if even more of you could like our videos on YouTube and share them, and if you're on TikTok, go and like our TikTok videos. They're great. They're funny. Everyone loves them. Getting hundreds of views, but we want more. So do it. Jake, is Cerveza Cristal still
Take it back. I think it was 2003.
Oh, is that when they did the adverts? So it wasn't 30 years ago. But still, the millennium, just turn of the millennium, it's not bad. Still quite old. It's over 20 years, so...
Buy a Cerveza Cristal.
Here's the moment of truth, folks. Everyone wants to know where they can order it from.
Yeah, you can still buy them.
Okay, there's still a company. I'll be able to sleep tonight.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just really enjoyed it.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
I've got a few stories if you want to discuss them, but can you play it one more time for me? 'Cause it's been in my head a lot. Cerveza Cristal. Superb.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, there was a bit of interesting news for Palace, and I like doing a bit of Palace on the pod now, that allegedly, and it's been sort of poo-pooed a little bit today, but that potentially Dougie Freedman
to United
could be going to United as their head of recruitment to work under Dan Ashworth as director of football. What do you think?
I think for United, it's a great move because when you look at the players, I know I've got my Palace goggles on, I appreciate that, but just from a business point of view, Eza and Elise
we're set to make a lot of money.
Are arguably two of the best young players in the league.
Yeah.
He picked them up for a combined just under 30 million.
Yeah.
Which is great. He came in for about 20, just under 20.
Yeah.
He's probably worth 3 times that now. When we sell him, he'll likely go for 3 times that in just the space of a few years. And we've had good years out of him. It's not even like he's been...
Czech Decore we signed for 22. The next season we're being offered 30 for him, and we're
Liverpool supposedly
still
willing to bid up to 70 allegedly.
Yeah.
You've got Lerma came in on a free. Again, he could easily be sold for 20-30 million plus
now. Well, that's
now.
what he was signed to for Bournemouth, wasn't it?
Yeah, you look at the players he bought in.
It looks good.
Where they are.
And Munoz is already looking like
Yeah.
a good side. The only chink in the armour for me is Henderson. That's the only one that sticks out like a
Yeah,
sore
20
thumb
million for
a player that
a
hasn't
keeper
looked
that we've already
great.
got a keeper.
But
For him, I don't know that that's a good move for a number of reasons. Number one, personally, I know how much he. Well, I don't know personally because I don't know him personally, but I've certainly seen him talking, and he seems to regret really leaving when he left.
When
he was the manager when we were on our way up,
yeah,
and he left for Bolton, and he's talked a few times about how much that was a mistake and how he should never have. Just. Well, you can hear him talking about it. But also, are United an attractive prospect now? I know you could say, well, you're getting in on the ground floor and you're working, Jim Ratcliffe coming in and all this and that. But I don't think they're an attractive prospect.
No, I agree.
It's a mess.
I sort of agree with both points. I think it feels like a sort of bit like in Moneyball, where like he's presented the opportunity at the end to go manage the Red Sox. And he swore after having made a big decision in his life based on money, he didn't want to do it again. And that was entirely the reason why he left to go to Bolton, was because they had a bigger budget at the time, arguably on paper at the time a better squad.
We were favourites to go down that season.
Yeah, and that was my first season as a season ticket holder, and I remember we were flying, and it was like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you going to Bolton? And it went really badly for it. I mean, I think the first season, actually, to be honest, he just missed out on playoffs in the end, if I remember correctly.
But like you said, he was managing a team that completely got his philosophy from day one and was top. I know the championship changes.
I would argue, though, I think it's worked out better for him in the long run because
his current role is great for him.
Well, yeah, and he gets to decide the future at Palace, really. Like, he's the one who's trusted to
part
pick
of it anyway,
these players. And a lot of trust is put in him to do that.
Also, it's a different task. What he's doing at Palace, trying to do it on a lesser budget, is suddenly going to United.
And like when it goes well, he's getting the credit for that. Do you know what I mean? So amongst the fans,
he's revered to a certain extent.
And like when he left the club, it didn't fall apart for Palace. So there isn't that bitterness to him leaving because it didn't go well for him and it went well for us, and has continued to go well. And he's been a part of that since as well. And I agree with you. I don't think Man United's an attractive proposition. The man who wants to recruit him doesn't own the majority stake in the club. There's no guarantee he'll ever have the majority stake in the club. I can only assume, a bit like Parish, he must have some sort of document that he's running the club. But yeah, Dan Ashworth isn't even in role yet.
No.
He's been left on gardening leave. Neither's that Barada bloke that they're taking from City, because basically United can't afford to pay the sort of release fees City and Newcastle want, because United also took the piss with Newcastle for Lingard, didn't they? When they wanted to loan him, they were like, 15 million, and Newcastle were like, get fucked. So apparently the figure they've asked for Dan Ashworth is 15 million.
Credit where it's due.
Yeah, and that, to be fair, Jim Ratcliffe wasn't the guy who did that to them, but I can
I get it. I
get behind, though. So yeah, and like, apparently the reports I was reading today, why I said it was poo-pooed slightly, was that he's distanced himself from it because a lot of the reasons we've mentioned, and like he doesn't think he can sell it, because a big part of his job is cultivating a relationship with a player and convincing them Palace is the right place to be. Like I read today, Adam Wharton, Dougie was at his first ever game for Blackburn, so he'd been watching him for quite a while, and he knew he was watching him. So like there's a lot that goes into it.
But also as well for Freedman, it's a bit easier because he knows the club inside and out. He's been there since. I mean, he's 2001 maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, he might have even been earlier. My sense of time is dreadful. I think we all know that. But
yeah, he's been at the club a long time now.
You know, he's on the list of like top goal scorers. I mean, he's not top, but he's you know, you don't have to extend the list that far down. Yeah. He knows that he's managed the club all right for like 3 months.
But did a very good job in his limited time as manager.
And now he's been behind the scenes for 10 years maybe.
And to be honest, I think his
best part of
appointment as director of football or our head of recruitment, whatever role it is he holds, has coincided with the improvement in our plan going, like our ability to now be able to sell these players on for a profit. And it's going to be hard seeing them go, but it's the whole point of why they were signed in the first place. We knew Elise was never going to spend his career at the club. Same for all of them. Gahey, Eze.
I'm not trying to be anti-United in any way, because United are still a big club and they are still a relatively attractive prospect for kids that grew up with
double his salary.
And kids that grew up with them. There's still going to be a lot of kids around the world that grew up. Yeah, but you're now trying to sell. Yeah, you've got a higher wage than Palace, but you're trying to sell a similar story of like, we're building, we're going to get there, and it's like, yeah, but United have been saying that since Fergie left.
Yeah,
we're building, we're going to get there.
There is that naggy thing though of like they do have they have managed to stay like they've been relevant in the league roughly. Like they've had moments.
Not by their own
second
standards.
Last season. But like they've won trophy. Like they've not been irrelevant. Do you know what I mean? Like Arsenal dropped off for ages. Like Liverpool dropped off for but United.
Well, Arsenal, Man United. Couple of FA Cups and a European Cup. Well, Arsenal did a couple of FA Cups while they were still not doing very well.
True. But yeah, I don't think United are anywhere near as attractive as they were before. And yeah, personally, I wouldn't make that move myself.
Plus, as with football, I know he's a Scottish lad, but as with anything in football, you asking to move you and your family up the other end of the country.
It's a long distance.
And
they're probably settled here.
Yeah.
And like his job's safe. And like it's not the sort of high risk job as being a manager. So I personally don't see the need to do it, but I can understand why thinking if he's being told
it would be a challenge.
You're going to have hundreds of millions.
Look, it would be a different challenge.
Yeah. I can understand some of the appeals, but personally, but then at the same, I thought that when he left for Bolton.
But United's problems run a lot deeper than just, the director and...
Well, it's completely stood still as a club.
In football.
Like, in all ways, in terms of infrastructure and...
You've got owners you've got majority owners who don't really want to own it.
No, they've only held on to as much stock as they have because they're hoping that Sir Jim improves things and then they can then sell their shares
for more money,
later down the line, which is why I'm like, he probably won't even end up being the majority shareholder in the future because he
can't. He's not a miracle worker.
Well, he can't afford it either. Like that's the whole reason why he hasn't bought the whole club now because he hasn't got anywhere near enough money to do so.
No, I see what you mean. No, he probably won't own it.
So whoever buys in later,
they might not sell because they might not have the,
Yeah,
they might not get the price they want to sell.
No, that's true. But yeah, no, I just thought it was an interesting thing to talk about. But yeah, I don't think he should go.
No, I think that would be. Yeah, no, I don't think that's a
Give
good
me
call.
a story, bro.
Okay. Are you aware of the Guinness World Record holder for the oldest dog?
No.
So Bobby.
I nearly said something really naughty then.
Say it.
No, I nearly went, your mum.
Hey, wait.
But I really like your mum, so I didn't say it.
Steady.
Your mum's a lovely lady.
You ever seen a band break up live on air? I'm gonna push on.
Yeah, I would.
Bobby.
I love you.
Bobby.
Wait, I know what to do.
I can't be mad at that.
No, I'll have to keep that on there.
You've won me back round.
Whenever I've upset you.
You've won me back round. But Bobby, who was he had a life expectancy of 12 to 14, his particular breed. He lived in Portugal, and he was awarded the Guinness World Record in 2021, maybe. He was no, in fact, last year it must have been. So 30 years and 268 days he lived to. Sold.
How do we know?
Well, this is it. He has now been stripped of his title. He died in October at the age of 31 years and 165 days. However, it's the title's now reverted back to a 1939 Australian cattle dog that died at 29 years and 5 months because someone questioned it, and it turns out there was absolutely zero evidence that Bobby was as old as he was.
I don't even trust the previous record holder. That's even further.
Are you saying the Australians might cheat?
Look, there's a reason why we sent them there.
I can't think of an explicit example where Australians have cheated on a public level. There are very few incidents.
Is this a cricket reference or something?
It is absolutely a cricket reference.
Well, I don't give a fuck about cricket.
The listeners care.
Is this the one where they were rubbing it on their jeans and shit?
No, sandpaper in the pocket.
That's it. They're
Yeah.
rubbing it on their bollocks.
More than jeans. Fucking sandpaper.
Yeah, and weren't they like rubbing sap on it and stuff?
They're doing all sorts of shit to it.
That weren't a euphemism. They weren't jizzing on the ball.
Come where I want. Come on your fucking ball.
Then you're going to hit it. But yeah. But no, fuck them. The Australians, rubbish.
But it was, I don't know how the world record, how Guinness were like,
Yeah,
we'll give you the medal.
An animal's age, unless they were there at the birth of the dog, and like they've got DNA of the dog from back then and then DNA now, I don't believe it. It's fake news.
Maybe they were like, they were in the room with the owner and Bobby, and they said, Bobby, if your owner's lying and you are not 31,
I'm putting you down.
bark twice. And he just licked the shit out of their face or something, and they're like, well, checks out. Look, the dog's not lying.
Yeah, he didn't bark twice.
No.
He just barked once.
We gave him the choice.
Yeah. He just blinked 3 times.
And does that make him complicit?
What, Bobby?
In the lie?
I mean, Bobby can't speak for himself.
Well, not now, he's dead.
No. So we can't know.
We'll never know.
Unless he was getting like loads of dog puss.
He's the
Because he
cat.
was famous.
Yeah, he was famous for being really old.
Yeah. Women like older men. Look at Leonardo
Oh,
DiCaprio.
have you seen, by the way, that a lot of Hugh Hefner's stuff is up for sale?
Is it?
Yeah, so the smoking jacket's currently got a bid of like $5,000 on it.
Jeez. Is that it?
At the moment.
I would have
It
thought
may
that'd
go
go
higher.
a lot
Well,
higher.
this is what the next thing that I heard in the news report, and I was like, who the fuck's bidding on that? That's disgusting. Is that his bed, his like round bed or heart-shaped bed or whatever. No, it's round. But his round bed is got like a bit of $1,000 on it. I'm like, who's bidding on that? Just incinerate it. Don't sell it.
God knows what's happened on that thing.
Oh my God, I
How
can't.
many women have been
proper
taken
old man
advantage
jizz.
of?
Oh,
on
you
that
just can't even
thing?
imagine.
Apparently he did struggle to...
Get it up.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Yeah, he was having trouble, bless him.
I don't know if bless him is maybe the.
No, any man struggling, apart from, I mean, shit, if you were...
Should we give his virile manhood an Indominus?
No, I think that's too far even for us. It's like I found out, did you know Weinstein's got like a gangrenous...
What, knob?
Yeah, it's like...
Good, fuck him, he deserves it.
No, 100%. But in that state, he was still...
That disgusting. I mean, it's an already disgusting situation, but it's like the
when
cherry on the cake.
Honestly, when I found out the details of what he's afflicted with, like, it does, like, you're like, well, yeah, it makes sense, but...
In a way, yeah, no wonder he had to force himself. No one's willingly touching a gangrenous
Well, no, that
penis.
wasn't the angle I was going for. I felt like more it was karma more than anything. Like, honestly, like, his knob's literally rotting off, but, yeah.
But yeah, like
I don't feel bad for him.
Like, I can
but
understand.
like, if you had galloping knob rot, Jake, I'd feel for you.
I could, well, because I've not raped anyone. It's
Well.
easier to feel for me.
Allegations.
I've not, nothing has ever been proven in court. Those women all took the payment.
Yeah.
They all settled.
It was just a beer advert.
It's just a, And that's what happened. I reached into my trousers. I went to pull out, and what I pulled out was
A beer.
a Cerveza Cristal.
And they did what you wanted because of the implications.
Yeah, if they said no, it was no.
Yeah, everything was fine.
Obviously.
But
they're not. They were never gonna say no
because of the implications.
because of the implications.
Absolutely.
What was I saying? Yeah, who the fuck's bidding on Hugh? Who wants Hugh Hefner's bed? The smoking jacket, I get.
Like, I could imagine, like, maybe some old memorabilia, like that being something you might, like, if you grew up with Playboy or, like, it means nothing to me, to be honest with you.
If one of the
them.
women were on sale, I get it.
Jake, mate, what's wrong with you? You can't buy and sell women. It's
No, what?
2023.
It's
2024.
100% not 2023.
It's 2024, Jake. Exactly.
Do you know what? I found out something horrendously damning about someone at work today.
What?
They write the dates the American way.
What?
Yeah.
Are they American?
No.
So did you punch them in the face?
Well, they're a lot bigger than I am, so.
Oh, right, fair enough. Respect.
But in my head.
You punched him.
Oh, man.
You smacked the pen out of his hand. Then smacked the shit out of him.
But, yeah, I was like, the smoking jacket, I get. I wouldn't want it myself, but I can understand the appeal.
I could imagine, like maybe his ashtray. Do you know what I mean?
What kind of weird fetishes are you into?
It's not. Why is an ashtray a fetish?
Everything associated with. There's definitely like an ash fetish.
Is there?
There's got to be. I find it hard to believe in this world.
I reckon you've been searching for stuff, you know.
No. And look, please don't go searching in my history.
Is that what you were doing in that video you sent me the other day?
I thought you'd enjoy it. I thought it was expanding your horizons. But I get the smoking. Anyway, I get the smoking jacket. I kind of get the appeal. But the bed, that sounds like the most disgusting thing in the world.
Yeah, why on earth
why would you bid for it?
Yeah, just throw it in the bin.
Unless,
donate it to charity.
Unless someone's put £1 on the bid and then accidentally gone a couple more times on the zero and hit enter and been like, shit, now I'm in for £1,000. I hope I don't win.
Yeah.
And everyone else is going, I don't want it. And some poor sod who only wanted to bid £1
is now stuck with it.
Is now £1,000 in the hole.
Yeah.
For the probably one of the dirtiest beds in the world.
Could you imagine?
He might have died in that bed as well. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good chance. I don't know where he died.
I don't know where he died.
You just imagine he died in Grande del Filicto. Do you know what I mean? He was in the middle of just slamming.
I don't know if at that latter stage of life he was ever capable of slamming.
What, as he would have felt he was slamming, do you know what I mean?
He was giving it his all.
He was like, in 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
He was trying.
I'll be over there. Things I'm going to do to you after my nap, let me tell you.
That's a great scene, by the way, in Phoenix Nights.
What's Phoenix? Oh, what, the
Peter Kay series?
Never watched it.
Oh, I do recommend it. There's a scene where he's going up.
I'm not a big Peter Kay
But
fan.
he's going up the stair lift, and he's like, "Things I'm going to do to you."
I have seen that clip. I have seen that. No, I'm not. I like some of Peter Kay stuff, like his misunderstood lyric stand up that he did. Was really
it's
funny.
great.
And there's famous garlic bread I found funny, but I'm not the biggest fan.
No, that's fair. But yeah, no, on Phoenix Nights is actually a really good.
Okay,
series.
fair enough. I'll take your word for it. What was I gonna? I keep meaning to talk about this. Ivan Toney. I feel like we should.
Did we not talk about it last week?
No, did we?
I don't know.
I don't think
you said I've heard you say you've been meaning to talk about it.
Yeah, but I think we talked about it in like passing. I don't think we actually addressed any.
Okay, well, let's get into it.
I don't think we did.
Let's
anyway.
get into it. We'll do it
if
again.
If we're repeating
it's fine.
ourselves, who cares?
If we are repeating ourselves, write into us, CrossingSwords19@gmail.com.
And tell us off.
Or comment on any of our posts, or like DM us at Swords Crossing on Twitter, at CrossingSwords_podcast on Instagram or TikTok. Message us and let us know. Crossing Swords on Facebook. Hit us up and tell us we're repeating ourselves and we're being fools.
Jesus, smashed it. I was impressed.
It's because I didn't build up to it. I just went.
No, you just
bosh,
went balls
early,
deep.
balls deep. Just no lubricant.
Just slammed it in.
No foreplay.
No,
just straight in all the way. No, not even teasing the entrance.
No,
straight in.
Is that what you like to do normally? Is it?
There's like a little sort of ritualistic dance I like to do.
Do you actually? Is there?
No,
like
I don't even know. I can't dance. You know I can't dance.
No, I'm not talking about an actual dance, Jake. I'm talking about like, do you do a bit of?
No, there's no like willy play.
No.
I'm not making a show of it.
No, you're not like.
Do you like to make a show of it?
I mean, if there's a stage, why not? Do you know what I mean? Like
the whole world is the stage.
When the cameras are on, perform.
What are you going to?
You know what? I look at these things.
What's your? And I imagine the cameras are off and on.
I couldn't even confirm.
What's going to be your first move?
It's a contractual obligation.
What's going to be your first move on Hef's bed?
It's got to be the reverse crab.
I mean, respect.
Yeah.
You've got to go something a little bit out there.
Yeah. And once I learn what it is, I'll have a better chance of doing it, I reckon.
If my bid wins, I'm going to pay homage to Hef. And I'm going to do it the way I think he would have probably wanted.
Just her on top?
Half limp, falling asleep.
That's the speciality, isn't
it?
Is that your go-to move?
That's my respect to Hef.
Okay.
I think that's how he was doing it. And I think to pay homage, that's how I'd have to do it.
I reckon he had some sort of like
old man styling.
Like he had something like a ball he could squeeze and
just to keep the blood flowing.
Because you can get those. That's like a thing.
Imagine going to your doctor and being like, I've got circulation issue. He's like, I'm going to give you some exercise. You're like, Doc, look, I'm going to live with you. That's not where the circulation issue is.
My dick ain't doing me. There's no lead in the pencil, sir.
There's not enough blood flowing through
my
gentleman's region.
Yeah.
I need some exercises.
And he's like, I've got just the thing, a stress ball for your testicle. Pumps that bad boy right up.
And that's what Hef was rocking.
Yeah. Look, he had the money.
What were we talking about that led to this again?
No,
How did we?
It was Ivan Toney.
Oh, Ivan Toney. That sly dog.
Back into, I mean, he wasn't famously at the Playboy Mansion, so.
No. He was at the races.
Can I just be honest, straight off? I just think he's a bit of a dick, to be honest with you. I don't think he comes across well at all.
No. The whole thing of him saying, like, and I've got nothing wrong with the sentiment of that's how he feels, but coming out and saying it to your fans is a little bit insulting. When he's basically turned around
and he's been banned for 8 months.
When he's literally just, I don't think he'd even played a game at the point where he gave the interview and went, "Look, I want to play
before his first game back.
I want to play somewhere bigger.
Yeah.
If someone comes in and bids for me, then I'm gone."
Yeah.
And it was like, that's fine.
That's not your first interview back, man.
I think we all know that that's how he feels. But personally, I would have advised him.
Do you talking on the pitch?
Well,
that's always the answer.
I'd have advised him to maybe say, "Look, I'm really grateful for Brentford for sticking with me.
Yeah.
And look, I'm committed to the end of the season. If that changes, that changes."
I mean, the rumours are he's already on like 80+ grand a week at Brentford. So for 8 months, he's got all of that for free. I mean, maybe there's something in their contracts that if they bring disrepute, they might
sick
get
pay or something.
They might get a reduced pay,
gardening leave pay.
But he's still been earning money for nothing, and before he's even kicked a ball for him again.
Plus, Lord knows what his profit margin is on like Sky Bet.
I bet you he's still betting. That's how big a prick I think he is that he's still betting. I don't think he's addicted to gambling. I think that's just an excuse. I think some of these people.
You think he thinks he's above?
Yeah, I think they get too sheltered.
No, being all serious, I feel really sorry for Ivan Toney, having played in the Sky Bet Championship, having won the Sky Bet Player of the Month and Goal of the Month.
What you're saying,
to then be told you shouldn't have been betting, you naughty boy. I know he's not meant to, and I know all players are not meant to, but it seems really, really ridiculous for him to go out and, also now while he's at Brentford, he's playing with Hollywood Bets on his shirt, advertising it to all the fucking kids everywhere. He's got Hollywood Bets every time he goes on the pitch, the whole fucking digital board around him.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But I don't believe he's a gambling addict. So I think he said that because he got caught.
Maybe. I wouldn't. And I don't think
his attitude since has made it look like he's contrite in any way whatsoever. Do you know what I mean?
Wouldn't make comment on his.
And then the Undertaker theme tune upon his return is just
bit cringy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, do you know what I pictured in my head?
He abuses us, but we're fine with it.
I pictured in my head, do you know that's, and I know I've still not watched the series, and it is on my list. And when I've got a bit more time later in the year, I will watch it. But you know that clip from Sunderland Till I Die, or whatever, where they're trying to come up with a new.
The third season shit. It's nothing like the first two. The first two are like behind the scenes.
No, but I haven't watched them even.
Oh, have you?
That's what I mean. So
them, but don't bother with.
I will at some point, and when I've got more time later in the year. But you know that scene where they're trying to come up with new theme music, entry music.
One of the cringiest things on the planet.
That's what I had in my head, like these bods behind the scene going Undertaker theme, and then playing it off a little laptop.
Yeah, it's one of, and he's trying to buy Charlton now, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, that particular man, but as part of a consortium, because apparently they still own a part of Sunderland now. That's one of the things the new owners hid, was that they're not actually.
They've not parted ways.
No, they're still invested in the club.
But what did you want to talk about Ivan Toney then specifically?
I think he's a bit of a knob.
Oh, you just wanted to say I don't like the bloke.
I don't like the bloke. No, like
he does make a difference on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean he's had a couple of quiet games as well. But in general, he's a talented footballer. I just think he's a bit of a bellend. And I don't think he's covered him. And I actually think his behaviour will stop a big team coming after him. I don't think he's going to be moving on. If he does move on from Brentford.
He might not move here.
I don't think
it might be like an Inter Milan or something.
Arsenal buy him. He doesn't suit how Arsenal play for starters.
Arteta.
Yeah, and Arteta's not going to have someone with that sort of attitude in his team.
Or that sort of track record, to be honest. Although then again, he's got Thomas Partey in his team, so fuck him. Who knows what he's going to.
Yeah, but he works hard.
Yeah, I bet he does.
Yeah.
He works very hard at making sure he doesn't get caught, making sure she can't get away, all those things.
Yeah.
Puts in all the work rate.
But he doesn't fight back. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't bite back at the manager, is what I mean.
Yeah, no, he's
He does what he's told.
He knows
at work.
He knows his place.
At work.
He's got dominion over women, but he listens to Arteta.
Yeah, so Arteta's fine with it. So, yeah. Does that affect your opinion of Arteta at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can't not.
It's
do you know what I
impossible
mean?
not to. Yeah.
Most of the time, if I'm honest, I don't think about it because Partey's not a starting member of the lineup.
But
so
he was for a while after the...
Yeah, so I'm not... It's like... I'm not seeing him... It's only every now and then when they cut to a shot of him on the bench, for example, and it reminds me, and it's like, oh, you dirty fucker.
They desperately tried to sell him in January, didn't they? They were like desperately trying to offload him. Like, anyone in Saudi? Anyone? And even they didn't touch him. And I feel a slight bit...
Does it affect your view on Arteta?
Yeah, it does. I think overall he comes across as quite a nice bloke, actually. He says some weird stuff about his wife as well.
Yeah.
About how he basically just stalked her.
He stalked her into marriage.
Yeah. So perhaps that's why he's completely fine with Thomas Partey, because...
He's giving him dating tips.
Yeah. But it's a shame because before the Thomas Partey stuff, I genuinely thought Arteta came across as like quite a nice bloke. But yeah, it's impossible for it not to.
Is that not a case of when we go back to the Tom Lockyer thing and you saying football's cutthroat?
Yeah.
Does that not boil? I don't think it does, by the way, but just for sake of argument.
I think it's different. It's different for me. Like, Tom Lockyer's not done anything wrong. Thomas Partey has. Do you know what I mean?
He's actively made a choice.
I understand,
to be
like, for you, it's a moral
bag.
choice. And it is a moral choice to whether you let Tom Lockyer play or not. I completely understand that. But he's not assaulted anyone or done anything naughty. Do you know what I mean?
No, I know it's a different. I know it's a different case by case, but in terms of the ruthlessness of football,
but that's why I think
nature.
someone will be willing to play him, whether he was 100% fit or not. Like, for me, I was like, if he's fit enough.
No, but in terms of the party thing,
clubs will take him, and managers will play him, sadly. If the player's good, like we know from Ronaldo. Ronaldo's admitted he raped someone in America. Yeah. It's why he never got to play in the MLS, because he'd be arrested if he went back to America. Like, everyone knew the MLS, if they could have, would have had Messi and Ronaldo, and it would have been
had him on a retirement
There's
tour.
a reason why that didn't happen, because you can Google it. I'm not saying
no, I'm not.
Like, it's out there. Ronaldo admitted to the police that he raped a woman in Las Vegas, I believe it was. I didn't learn that until around the time the Russell Brand allegations came out, to be honest with you, because one of the people I was listening to mentioned... And
there was a lot of talk about other high-profile men that were getting away with it. Yeah.
And then that came out. It was like, you can literally Google his admittance of the crime, and yet he's still one of the biggest sports stars on the planet. And as long as he's willing to continue playing football, someone will employ him to do so.
Can we give a shout-out, by the way, while we're on football, just to kind of go back to something a little bit cheerier, to the absolute scenes when AFC Wimbledon got a last-minute winner against absolute rivals MK Dons. The Cherry Red, whatever it's the Cherry Red Stadium or whatever. It's a really nice ground. It's on the old race Greyhound racing.
It's beautiful. They've got to go back there.
But it just carnage, because, you know, to put into context, you know, this bloke bought your club,
Peter Winkleman,
shut it down and moved it to the fucking Midlands, basically. And you're like, well, hang on a minute, we're South London. And it's like, no, you're a Midlands club now. Yeah. So you had to start again, build your club up, and then you get the opportunity to play the scumbags who took your club away.
At your own new stadium.
And then, you know, we all know a last-minute winner is sweeter than any other kind of winner.
Yeah, but in that scenario...
against your rivals, against the team that robbed you of your club, beautiful. Yeah. And I know because of a certain... Well, I don't really know him that more anyway.
No, I don't really talk to him anymore.
But I know because of our history with him, we would mock Wimbledon quite regularly.
I always thought it was a beautiful story. That's the thing. Like, it's what some people... And I can understand it to a degree. If you were supporting Wimbledon as a kid, that gets ripped away from you. You then start re-supporting the Phoenix Club, who are now been given all the history of Wimbledon, by the way. The FA have accredited everything from Wimbledon's history to AFC Wimbledon, which is fantastic. To go through all of that, I can imagine being very sensitive about it to a degree, but at the same time...
Banter's banter.
Do you know what
if you're going to give it, you've got to take it.
100%. But no, I think it's wonderful. And My mum grew up in Wimbledon, so she's always liked following what's been going on with them.
Posh
so
part or the other part?
Posh part.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I'm marrying well, aren't
Wimbledon part.
I'm going to marry into a bit of money here.
Yeah.
You can call me daddy.
Do we get some of yours though?
No, she's already signed a prenup.
Silly woman.
She doesn't know she's signed it.
I talked to her about that.
She doesn't know she signed it.
But she can't, she's past the point of having children with you now, so she can't entrap you in that way.
Listen, women always surprise you.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Just don't adopt a kid with her and you'll be fine.
I've got a very virile sperm. They're very
That's not
potent.
how adoption works.
I have very potent sperm. I'm not worried about the adoption.
Oh, so you reckon you can...
Could happen.
Okay.
It could happen.
We'll have to see. I wouldn't mind a little brother.
All I'm saying is, if a woman's gone through... How insensitive is it if a woman's gone through the menopause?
Right.
Is not going for it, has gone through it, is no longer able to birth children.
Yeah.
Somehow gets pregnant. How inappropriate is it to then play the theme for The Undertaker? Like her womb's come back from the dead.
Oh my God!
I don't know where.
He's back.
Am I crossing a line?
Probably.
This is hypothetical.
I'd respect it.
This isn't.
I'd high five you for it.
I'm not saying I've got a lawsuit coming my way.
Yeah.
Or a civil suit.
Yeah.
This is just hypothetical. You understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all just talking.
Yeah.
I've forgotten what I was talking about.
Absolutely.
Gay whales.
Gay whales.
They've been seen now.
Gay
for
whales?
The first time ever.
What, whales banging?
Off the coast of Hawaii.
Really?
2 males having sex.
What do they do? Put it in each other's blowholes? I know that's how male dolphins do it.
I mean, I know that's when we role played.
No, it's genuine. I've seen images.
No, I don't know. No, they were just like one was on top of the other one.
Really?
At the back.
Are they enjoying themselves?
I don't know what whales having fun looks like.
Why not?
All I'm saying is, would you feel more or less comfortable if you were listening to if you were at a spa and they were playing whale music
and you found out,
and the track was, you knew, it was like, oh, this
gay
is
sex,
this is two
whales.
This is two male whales having sex.
I don't know why they'd feel the need to tell me that it was 2 male whales. By the way, sir, just to let you know, I really want you to have a relaxing time to settle in and enjoy yourself and just unwind. You deserve it. You paid for the service. We've chosen this music especially for you, just off of the general vibe we've got. It's quite special, really. It was really rare footage and audio, but it's a really beautiful whale song, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. That's incredible. I really like the sound of that. Yeah, it's the moment where 2 male whales come together in a beautiful harmony and just bang it out.
Yeah, I actually studied. I was a bit of an oceanographer, and I can actually study. I was a marine biologist. I can actually.
Oceanographer.
That's a real thing.
No, but I knew it wasn't the right thing.
But so I can actually translate this. I can interpret the sounds. You're like, oh, you go. Okay, track 1. They would just, the whales were just trying to navigate through the ocean. They were just telling each other to keep swimming, to keep staying strong. Track 2. Okay, let me just play a bit. That's one whale saying, "Oh yeah, fuck me harder."
And the next track is them singing the Hamilton song. I don't know how to say no to this. And by the end, they're doing a rendition of "Oops, I Did It Again."
I'd like a new massage therapist, please.
Yeah,
your one keeps telling me that whales want to fuck each other. She's making wild stereotypes about these gay whales. I mean, where's a whale even heard Britney Spears? I ask you.
Britney's at the level where whales know her music.
This masseuse is out of control.
Look, she moonlights as a marine biologist where she...
when she's an oceanographer by day.
Oceanographer.
And then masseuse on weekends.
And marine biologist by night. It's when they're fucking.
She's only interested when they're fucking.
That's when the whales are fucking.
She's like, look at all this straight whale sex. I don't care about this.
And she pays them all sorts. Do you know what I mean?
George Michael and...
I was trying to think, gay bar by Electric.
She's just trying to put them in the mood.
Yeah. And they're like, it's a catchy song.
So anyway,
yeah,
gay whales, that's a thing now.
Well, we have gay dolphins and we have rapey dolphins as well. We know dolphins are rapey.
They don't even keep it in the same species.
No, they're happy to rape humans.
They will try and rape humans.
Yeah. So just watch out for dolphins. Everyone thinks they're really friendly. They're not.
They know what they're doing.
Another football-related question. I just want to say, as at time of recording today, and this isn't football-related, it was the budget today.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I've not looked at...
I've seen a bit.
Yeah, but I don't know enough to really... And to be honest with you, I didn't really want to talk about it this week. I was like, we can cover it at some other point. I mean, all I know is that we're getting 2p off our national insurance.
Yeah, there was a couple of good things in there, but there was just a lot of stupid stuff as well from what I've seen.
But the football-related thing was, I saw you don't like Troy Deeney.
Mate, do you know what? I never had a problem with Troy Deeney until he was manager at Forest Green Rovers.
Yeah, like, look, he fucked that up. I don't think he would argue that he didn't fuck that up.
No, he would argue that his players fucked it up. He would argue that he did everything.
That's what he was arguing at the time.
He would argue that he did everything he could.
I think in hindsight, if you were to have a conversation with the man, I'd like to think...
I think it's still too soon and he'd still say, no, the players were shit, I got it right.
I think he gets a really hard rap online. And I think it's because when he goes on to podcasts and stuff, and I'm not saying this is necessarily what your issue is with him, by the way, because I know you're not you're not watching loads of podcasts. Like he goes on to football podcasts and, you know, he's a big, intimidating guy. That's his image. And, like, that comes across, like, when people are interviewing him, they're almost arse-licking him, and, like, they get into situations where he's comparing himself to Harry Kane and things like that. But, like, I think it's unfair for people to judge him for, like, backing himself. And
no, every interview I've seen of him before, like the one where he's talking, even the one where he's comparing himself to Kane, I like him, and I thought, no, he's all right.
I would assume he could hold up a ball better than Harry Kane. Can he do any of the other things Harry Kane
the whole thing at Forest Green was just like...
Oh, it's dreadful.
It's ridiculous.
Absolutely
First of all,
awful.
I don't think they won a game in his tenure. He was in there like 6 or 7 games. And after every game, he came out and went, the players are shit. And he even went as far as calling out one particular winger.
Yeah.
And being like, I'm trying to tell him what he needs to do, but he's not good enough. He will never get it, and he will never be good enough. And it was like, what are you talking about? How is that? Even if that's the way you feel, going out to the media and saying, look at these pricks, what good does that do anyone?
It doesn't. No, look, I have no interest in defending his time at
It's
Forest
the same
Green.
thing at Roy, when Roy was calling out
like,
players in the media. It's like, don't do it in the media.
Yeah.
That's dirty.
No, 100%, I agree. But I noticed you were sort of implying that he should basically keep his mouth shut and keep his opinions to himself.
I think it's way too soon to his time at Forest Green for him to be going on I know being a pundit and being a manager are very different, but for him to be going on Match of the Day and trying to tell some of the best players in the world how they probably should be training and what they've been doing wrong, that's, I imagine, how he did.
The argument I would make, though, in his defence, and I don't necessarily feel, but like just to play devil's advocate, is that a short stint at Forest Green doesn't negate his entire career and experience and knowledge of the game. Do you know what I mean? So to say he can't ever comment on what a player should do is a bit harsh.
No, listen, being a bad coach, like I said, it all comes back to the media thing. Being a bad coach doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't talk about the game. I mean, you look at one of the most successful pundits in this country is Gary Neville. Oh, it's a shocking stint in management.
Alan Shearer, his one stint in management.
Shearer. But yeah, just the whole calling out the players thing. It's like I think you should just back off. I agree with that.
I'm just saying I think it's harsh to say that he can't.
I think he just needs to back off for a bit. I mean, how would you feel if your boss called you, like, just spent the whole time saying to everyone, shit, cannot do fuck all. Look at this. This is what I've got to work with. You're joking. How can I achieve anything? And then within a couple of months, they get sacked. And in a couple of months, you see them at some big corporate event talking about the industry and talking about your company and sort of saying,
I'm not quite a big corporate event, but I've sort of lived that scenario with one of my bosses in the past.
But I don't imagine you went, fair enough.
No, I thought he was a complete wanker. But I wouldn't have said he knew nothing about or the industry I worked in retail. Do you know what I mean?
No, but like I said, I think there's a...
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a bit harsh to say that he needs to back off and not have a punditry career.
It's not have a punditry career. It's like you need to kind of put some distance between the Forest Green thing.
I think he was clearly desperate post playing career, and I know he was a player coach there, but I don't know how much he was playing. I think he was clearly quite desperate to do something. I think he clearly rushed into management and wasn't ready for it in the slightest. But he won't be the last ever ex-player
he'll
to
win
completely...
Me. He'll win me back round.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, everything I've seen him in interviews and stuff, I like. So I think he will win me back round.
Again, I would agree, because I've watched quite a few of his interviews, and he seems to learn from his mistakes. So that's why I then like to think, if you were to ask him even now, like, how did you handle that?
But right now,
he'd probably put his hands up. And
I realise as well, by the way, you more than me have basically just come around and said, like, picked on 2 black players. Shall we pick on a white player just to even things up?
I've just defended
just someone that we think is a prick.
I said Ivan Toney was a prick. And look, by the way, I think it would be racist not to call him a prick. I'm doing the 21 Jump Street. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He's a prick and he happened to be black.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I punched him and he happened to be gay. Me not punching him because he was
that
gay,
would be homophobic.
That would be homophobic. So I think for me to not call out Ivan Toney for just being a bellend, like, for me, it's his colour of his skin is completely irrelevant.
Is that how the listeners will see it?
Who knows? Who cares? I know what's in my heart, Jake. Big Daddy Pig don't stand for this shit, and we've talked about it before. I can't be cancelled.
No.
And I just defended a black player.
If the other allegations didn't stick, racism might take you down.
Hasn't taken down Donald Trump.
Oh my God. By the way, did you see Emily Maitlis interviewing Marjorie Taylor Greene, or whatever her name is?
She got told to fuck off or something.
Yeah, so she was like really nice, and she was like, what do you think about this other woman, Nikki Haley, or whatever her name is? And she was like, well, I think she should probably politely back down, and, you know, I'm at President Trump's service, whatever way he wants. She's like, do you think you should be the vice president? And she's like, well, you know, I would like to be his vice president, but you know, it's his decision, and I will just support him in any way. And then she went, well, let me ask you this: why is it that the right tend to gravitate or tend to attract more conspiracists and more conspiracy theories?
Yeah.
You know, like around Mr. President Trump's campaign and the right way. And she was like, actually, I think the left do that more than anyone. We're all about the truth and whatever. And then there's obviously, I've missed this story, but there's obviously been a thing around Trump's supporters, maybe even from Trump himself, because Emily Maitlis then turns around and says, what about Jewish space lasers? Which, out of context, is perfect.
I need to remember that for the clip. Just to have Jewish space lasers.
And then that Margie said, "Good turn around and goes, let me ask you about Jewish space lasers, and why don't you fuck off?" But first of all, by the way, I think
fucking love that as a that needs to be a
Jewish
movie.
Space Lasers would be a great song title maybe for a Jewish band.
That's an album name if ever I've
heard
one.
I imagine the band's called like the Menorahs or something. And
you know, we
are. Listen, don't start getting into stereotypes. We are the Menorahs. That could be seen as anti-Semitic.
That was genuinely accidental.
I meant from me.
Like the on the nose comment,
but
I meant that innocently.
I know, and it was me that turned it, and that's why it could be seen as anti-Semitic from me. But that's a stereotype.
Oh fuck it! Like I said, we can't be cancelled.
But I'll be like, you know, we are the Menorahs, and this is Jewish space laser.
What would the first line of that song be, Jay?
I don't know.
You shot it straight into my heart.
You see us floating in the sky, watch us controlling your mind, or whatever, you know, because there's this whole thing about Jewish people controlling their minds and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, what would the first lyrics be?
I just started singing it, and then you interrupted it with
Sing it again,
your spoken word.
Sorry, sing it again.
I don't know.
Jewish space lasers.
Gone. I think the first line would be you shot it straight into my heart.
I like it.
Yeah.
Are you going to sing it again, or are you just saying I've ruined it?
The singing's done, Jake. You ruined it.
Wow. Guilt trip much?
You have to be there for the magic. You have to be present.
Wow.
Miracles only happen once in a blue moon.
Except on Crossing Swords.
Happens every week.
Every damn week.
Every episode. Every day. I think we've done a pod, bro.
I think we've done a pod.
Jake's got some sort of engagement afterwards. I think.
Do you think we go Jewish space lasers?
Massage.
Yeah.
He's going to check out those Jewish space lasers.
I want to hear the gay whales having
Is
sex.
that the name of the episode?
Jewish space lasers.
Yeah. What on earth do I make the thumbnail though? Like whose face?
Is this too long a title to say? Do Jewish space lasers sound like gay whales?
What do Jewish space lasers and gay whales have in common?
Yeah, or is that too long a title?
It's probably quite long. I think it should just be the Jewish space lasers.
We always managed to pick the thing that took up like the least amount of discussion on an episode.
Because it was the funniest thing.
It was.
Yeah, Jewish space lasers is fantastic. That would have upset me in an interview as well. If someone after a serious conversation.
Let me ask you about Jewish space lasers.
Oh, go fuck yourself, Emily.
Well, for me, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But there's clearly a thing going on around Trump supporters involved.
We'll get back to the people on the Jewish space lasers, I feel. That's something we've got to revisit.
We'll educate ourselves.
Yeah, we'll find out what's going on.
I'll speak to NASA.
Yeah.
See what's happening.
Yeah. Will they tell us the truth, though?
We'll get a Jewish person to speak to NASA on our behalf.
Okay.
They'll tell them everything.
Fair enough. Right, guys, thank you very much for listening. Jake did the socials not that long ago, so we're not going to do them again. It'll just be on the screen. It'll be sexy. It'll be brilliant. And guys, like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff, please.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Or a ball.
Don't be Australian.
Don't, unless you are Australian, in which case, click the upside down subscribe button.
Yeah, don't be the Jewish space laser in this conversation.
Don't be the Jewish, that should be our new thing. Don't be the Jewish space laser.
But is that anti-Semitic because we're saying Jewish in a derogatory way?
Or it's the space laser bit that's surely the bit you don't want to be. Oh, the space lasers are quite cool. And Jewish people are quite cool.
Yeah, Jewish people are fine. I don't have an issue with Jews.
Some of the finest creative minds in the history of humankind are Jewish.
It feels important you said that after everything we've done.
And meant it as well, by the way. I wasn't trying to cover myself. I genuinely mean it.
Sort of demeans it when you say I really mean it. But I said, I have a black friend.
That's why I can't say anything racist.
Yeah.
So I actually don't currently have anyone.
My defence for slagging off a black man was I defended another one.
Yeah, no one in my inner circle is black.
No.
And it's stopping me saying some really offensive shit.
What, you think they'll just give you a pass?
Well, because I can't say I have a black friend because I have black acquaintances.
But you don't have a black
I don't
friend.
have like I don't have like a close black friend.
No.
That I can get away with it.
No.
Because we all know that is a pass. When you say I have a black friend, people just go,
only if you're really
fair
close.
enough.
I think that's down to them as well. I don't think you get to set the boundary on that.
You say to them, like, are you day one? Are you ride or die? Yeah, we're ride or die. Oh, fair enough then, my man. You can use that word.
Okay.
It's acceptable.
You think that's...
So you can use those stereotypes if your friend has approved. We all know that's how it works.
Fair enough.
Bye, guys.
Bye.